Welcome in, everybody, to Bourbon Buzzed and Ballin. We are your hosts, Kolby and Dut, and we have another good show for you tonight. Kolby?
You know, we like to start every show off with an opening toast, and this week we decided we're going to toast the three Americans that are still fighting for the U.S. Open. There's one gentleman and two women that will be playing this week to continue to try to get that U.S. Open championship.
Yeah, I mean, I'm pretty excited about Tiafoe. That was a
big win over Nadal.
That was a big W. You know, we were 31-2 against the top three tennis players. As Americans, yeah, going into that.
Well, I didn't know that. I knew that Nadal was 22-0.
Yeah.
In Grand Slam matches so far this year.
Yeah, no,
he won the Australian and the French.
Right.
And then I think he pulled out of Wimbledon.
Yeah, it'd been since 2016 since we beat one of the big three, so that was a big dub.
Yeah, and I see that Tiafoe has to face Andrei Rublev, who's number 9 of Russia.
I give up on the name pronunciations in tennis.
Again, PSA, if we butcher a name, we apologize.
Hey, it is what it is. What about Coco?
Coco Gauff.
Yeah.
She's advancing to the quarterfinals, and she'll be playing Caroline Garcia of France. Coco's actually the higher seed in this one, so
yeah, it's true.
Hopefully she can move on. She's the youngest to reach the quarters in 13 years at 18 years old, and Garcia has really been on fire. 10 years older than Coco, and we'll see if Coco can slow her down because she's.
I gotta be honest with you. I've only watched the one tennis match, and that was Serena's last. So
and I was hoping we were going to get to talk about her still being in it this week, but she did great in upsetting the number 2 player, but then she lost that next. I
don't know if you watched that match, but I watched it from start to finish, and it was.
I didn't get to see it.
It was good. She looked like she was gonna. She looked like she was gonna win to me midway through like the second set, but then, man, it went downhill from there. But she fought hard. It was good. It was a good match.
And then the highest ranked American still left. Is actually the number 1 American female player, and that's Jessica Pegula, and she's got to go against. She's the number 1 American, but she's got to go against the number 1 world.
Right, world-ranked player, for sure.
From Poland, Iga Swiatek. And one thing I found interesting when I was doing a little research is Jessica's parents actually own the Buffalo Bills and the Buffalo Sabres.
Wow.
So, if she can pull off this U.S. Open, and, we got the Bills as our Super Bowl favorites. Could be a real good year.
Could be a good year in Buffalo. But be a lot of wings eaten.
Exactly. And then another thing about her that I found interesting is her and Coco actually compete in a lot of these tournaments as doubles partners.
That is good.
They're highly rated doubles partners. So, to you Americans still trying to bring home that U.S. Open, cheers.
Cheers. Win it. Ooh, that's pretty good.
That is good. Why don't you tell them what we're sipping on tonight, Dust?
It's a little strong. Got really nice color.
Yes.
So this is from my barrel. This is my own barrel that I've been aging since January.
Yeah, we teased it a little bit a few episodes ago.
Yep. So it was time for we're 6 months. I think 6 months, a little longer than that, in on the taste. So what I did with this is I actually combined 2 mashes into one,
right?
But they're both rye. Okay. So this is a
full
rye.
Yeah, I'm getting that rye taste.
But that color is really nice. It's really pretty color.
Really good.
And I aged it in the house for 3 months, and it's been in the cellar basement for the last couple of months.
And isn't it amazing how much you lose through evaporation?
Yeah, it is. I mean, I'm literally down to a quarter of a barrel.
Yeah. And that's why, usually the longer the bourbon's aged, the more expensive it is because it costs more to make it because every barrel you're only getting half back out of it. So
it's got good flavor, though. I mean,
especially for a rye because I'm not a rye guy. I'm a splash guy.
That's alcohol abuse. I think I would put it on a rocks. I'd rate it a 3 for me.
Yep.
For a rye too. The color is just really impressive to me. But
Yeah, I mean they went in clear, went into the barrel clear.
that's right.
Now it's got that pretty amber color. So
Just a few months later. So.
yeah, these are fun. You know, we talked about getting a barrel. What was it, a couple weeks ago on the show, and they're fun. And
Yeah, if you have a chance, you should get you a barrel. And even if you were to put in an already 4-year, 3-year, 7-year aged bourbon and age it some more in this, it's fun to play with and different.
And it changes the flavors and the notes. And so if you're into bourbon, you should have a barrel, and you can get them personalized, get your name on it. You know, I think we're gonna have to have us a Bourbon Buzzed and Ballin barrel before too long.
Yeah, we should.
Maybe get one of the 5-gallon ones.
There we go.
And do some of our own private stuff.
Our own private stock.
All right,
let's roll.
Let's get right into today's show. Let's come in hot. A few things going on. Let's start with the baseball, with Major League Baseball. And there's a couple guys out there swinging for the fences every time they come to the plate.
Yeah.
Aaron Judge, he just hit number 54. Was it Monday or Sunday? I can't remember which day it was, but he just hit number 54.
It was, I don't remember either.
Actually, I think it was Monday because I think he then went to watch the U.S. Open later that night.
He was
with his wife.
Was on TV for that.
So anyway, he's going for the Yankee record, which is
Roger
also
Maris.
still the American League record. 61 is the American League record, and it's Roger Maris's Yankee record. And a lot of people, the diehards, still consider 61 as the all-time because
Barry Bonds,
Sammy Sosa, and Mark McGwire are the only guys that have ever exceeded that 61, and that was in the juice stage. Of
61
MLB.
is still impressive.
So it's still, he's got a lot of people tracking this, pulling for him. I did the math, and he is actually on pace to do 64. He's got 27 games left, and he averages a home run at like every 2.5 games.
I think he's coming. That's coming down, though. I think
it did come down some.
He was on pace.
He was on pace for more than that.
That's right.
But we're currently, based on the number of games left and his home runs per game's already played, it's right at 64, 65. It was like 10.8 is what it came to. So
I haven't even looked at the matchups he's got facing.
I haven't either.
Stadiums he's in.
Yeah, I mean, I don't think with him it doesn't really matter.
No, not with that physical specimen. The one I'm most, I guess I'm down about. I don't see it happening.
Well, you know
Albert.
what?
I know he can get high. Give me something.
Actually,
statistics.
He's 5 away from the 700 club.
Right.
And he is actually, since he joined the Cardinals, now I'm not saying the whole year, but since he joined the Cardinals, he averages a home run every 5.25 games. He's got 27 games left. That's enough time to get 5 more. Puts him right at 700. And you know what? I have a feeling there might be some pitchers that don't mind serving up a silver platter or two. You know, if the game doesn't mean any, if it's not a game that has bearings on the standings, I could see.
Yeah, he's clearly a player favorite.
Oh yeah.
He's clearly a player favorite.
I'm
pulling for him.
Yeah, I think the whole league is pulling for him. It's going to be tough, and it's it's going to get that grip on that bat's going to get a little tighter and tighter as
he might press a little bit.
Exactly, as the game.
He's such a great hitter, though. Golly, he's such a great hitter. I've enjoyed watching his career.
Yeah. Good guy. I've always. I don't really have a team I pull for, but I have always, enjoyed pulling for Pujols.
Yeah.
He's one of the stand-up guys, so you want to see him. I would love to see him hit that 700 club.
Let's talk some football.
The transfer portal, they just changed the rules for the transfer portal where they're going to give 2 windows. So you got a 45-day window where you can announce your transfer, and that's after the championship selection. And then there's going to be a 15-day period in the first 2 weeks of May at the end of spring practice. Yeah. So
I like that rule change. I think there should be a defined window. I don't, for a coach, you can't have that hanging over you that a player can.
Right. I mean, it's like
LSU this weekend.
Exactly. And I was
you
going to talk on that when we got into the next segment.
Having a bad game and mad because he didn't get the ball or he wasn't in the game plan. And
I mean, you want these kids to be able to find the best situation for them, but you don't want to cripple the program, and you don't want to hold up somebody else's opportunity to come play for a team.
That's right.
Because there are scholarship limits.
And there's scholarships that get pulled when another kid flips on a program.
Yeah, so there definitely needs
it's a very unfair process.
Yeah, so it does need to be in a controlled windows. And then one thing I was glad that they voted down was the unlimited transfer, because you don't want just wide open free agency, a kid changing schools every single year. It's not good for the kid. It's not good for the sport.
No, and at some point, the kid has to look at himself in the mirror. Mm-hmm. I totally agree with the transfer portal. Mm-hmm. It is crucial because it's a tough decision making that decision on what school you want to go to.
While you're in high school, you don't know if it's going to be a good fit.
And when you get there, things are different. Yep. Coaches are different. I can speak from experience.
Right.
Coaches are different, and you get there, and it's just not the right fit.
Right.
And you have to have that ability to be able to just make that decision.
Well, I mean, even as a student, just being a student,
right?
You go away to a college and it's not for you. You don't have to, sit out a year before you. So coaches. These aren't professionals. I mean, kind of are now, but the portal is good for the kids, just like the NIL is good for them. And then another rule change, or not really a rule change, but they also voted this week to expand the college football playoffs.
Yeah, that was definitely, you could see that coming.
That's been
coming, and I don't know yet. I mean, I like the format that they're going to do. I mean, but I think I was more in line with 8 versus the 12. But I do like the 6, conference champions getting in.
Yeah,
automatics,
I think if
and
you
then
only,
the at-large.
Yeah, if you only go to 8, I don't think you can guarantee the 6 conference champions. And then only have 2 at large. I mean, you could, but there's going to be a lot of argument.
I see the argument, and are we still not going to argue even at 12?
Absolutely.
I mean, are we?
And are we just setting up a look what happened with Georgia and Oregon this weekend?
Sure. I mean, there's going to be some.
Are we just setting up lopsided
games?
Yeah, but then on the other hand, if you got a Southern team that has to go up north to play that first round of playoffs, that could be the equalizer.
It could be. I've always argued that it's not.
Right.
I don't think us Southern boys are afraid of going out and playing in a little snow. I know all my Big Ten friends and Northern friends will argue the opposite, but I think you'll find out that our Southern fast twitch muscles, they do the same thing up there in the cold. We might get an extra hammy or something, but I mean, I agree though. I think I would love to see Alabama at the Big House in December, November, December, playing in some snow.
See what happens.
It'd be cool.
Well, cool. I think that's one good thing about this expansion is it does give some you now can have a home playoff game instead of having everything being at a bowl game.
Right.
The other thing that I like about it is I think now this will allow schools to schedule much tougher games early in the season.
Sure.
Who wants to see Alabama, Utah State? I would have rather seen Alabama,
Texas, this.
Yeah, or
I would like to have seen a premier matchup.
There were some good
Alabama, USC. Alabama,
and I know
Iowa.
I know a lot of those games are on the schedule for the future. So,
sure.
And this will allow where you can lose one, probably 2 games, and still be alive for the playoffs. So
what is this actually gonna do to the FBS schools? Have we thought of that? You think about all the small schools that make that big check coming to play Alabama or coming to play Georgia. They make their whole season.
It's going to reduce it. I mean, I still think you'll need 1 or 2 filler games on your schedule, but it's not going to be as many. And those filler games aren't you said FBS. They're not. It's probably just going to be one FBS at most.
I don't like them anyway. I never have.
I mean, you may see some of those programs having to lose their football programs. Some of those schools.
I mean, I've always understood the financial aspect to those games, but they just don't make sense.
It's not interesting.
It isn't. It's not. It's no fun. And
the only good thing is it gets these fourth and fifth stringers an opportunity to play in a game on TV and get a little experience for next year. But
I think we're seeing, at Alabama, of course, we've seen just mass subbing going on at the onset of the game.
Right.
Georgia does it a lot too. All the big schools, if they're at least 2 deep, sometimes 3 deep, I see the rotations happening as soon as the game starts.
Right.
So, I mean, I just don't like those. I don't like those filler games at all. I would like to see them go away. I hate it for the small programs that rely on that for the economics. But
I would love to see you play more conference games.
Yeah.
Maybe start the year with a couple out of conference games, and then boom, play every team in your conference or a bunch of them.
I think we all wait so much for the first game of the year. Week 1 ought to be premier matchups.
Right.
Out of conference matchups, stuff that we can talk about.
Yeah, like have the Big Ten and the SEC top to bottom, head to head. One versus one, two versus two.
The challenges that would be really.
Yeah, that would be great.
That would be really good. I would love to see the Pac come over here and play the SEC, so we could put that discussion to an end. Just like we did Saturday.
That's right.
We saw that discussion come to an end really quick.
Let's go on. Go ahead and move into our next segment. Let's go ahead and do our week 1 of college football season recap.
Well, I think I can recap with 2 teams. I mean, and it's Alabama and it's Georgia and it's everybody else. I mean, I know week 1 is a little strong in that, but Ohio State, not impressed. And I know Notre Dame's better than Utah State for sure. And I think Notre Dame has a great defense. Great defense. And they look like they gave Ohio State a lot of trouble.
And I think one thing that hurt Ohio State was losing Smith and Jigba.
Oh yeah,
and depending on how many games he's at, they're saying it's a hamstring.
It's a hammy, though. They say 2, but
hammy, and I can attest to that. I dealt with it all my football and track career. Once you damage it repeats.
Propensity to damage again. I hate to say it. I mean, I didn't think Georgia was going to take a step back. I mean, I always thought Stetson's great, but he's clearly into the Heisman discussion at this point.
I don't know if I'm quite ready to put him there. I put him in the sleeper Heisman.
Nah, he's
or
in
the long shot.
Well, I'm not. Yeah, maybe long shot, but he's in the discussion. But I didn't think Georgia. I mean, I was curious to see Georgia defensively, but were you honestly that sold on Oregon offensively?
No.
I mean, I think I made it. I mean, we can put the Bo Nix discussion to bed.
He wasn't a quarterback at Auburn. I mean,
he looked terrible. Now I know Georgia's defense is really good, but
if you look at this week's polls, to kind of back up what you just said, you got the 2 best SEC teams 1 and 2 because Georgia jumped them. So they're 1 and 2, Alabama, Georgia. Then you got the 2 best Big Ten schools, 3 and 4.
Yeah.
Because Michigan jumped up to 4, and you got Ohio State dropped down to 3. So you got the 2 best conferences holding the top 4 spots.
Right.
And like you said, right now, the SEC definitely, their 2 looks better, so that's why they're 1-2. And then you got a Clemson team that stuck at 5 or fell to 5 in one poll and stuck to 5, which
I'm gonna go ahead and tell you, I think Clemson played themselves out to me. They're still going to be in it just because who's going to beat them.
Yeah,
NC State
struggled with East Carolina.
DJ. Let's talk about DJ a minute.
Well, let's hold off on DJ.
You don't want to talk about DJ?
Let's back up just a little bit.
All right.
Because I want to talk about just a couple of impressions about the weekend. Then I want to dive deeper into these top 5 schools.
Okay.
So basically, like I said, it for the ACC and the Pac-12, this opening weekend, I don't think could have went worse. UNC, NC State both struggled with good teams but unranked teams.
Right.
And Clemson was not impressive. They were tied 0-0 5 minutes into the second quarter.
Well, I mean, I don't want to say take away the two special teams touchdowns because they happen, but if you take them away,
and their first score was on that block punt. They get the ball to 5, and it takes them 4 plays to score from the 5.
They beat an engineering school 27-10 without those special teams play.
Right. Yeah.
I mean their defense looked great, but against a Georgia Tech team that was playing the first time out of a shotgun.
Right.
I mean,
so the ACC, they got a lot of ground to make up to get a team in the playoffs. And they're going to need some help from the outside. The Pac-12, they may already be out of the playoffs. I guess USC.
I mean,
Utah getting beat by an unranked Florida team.
Florida looked
did look good, but they're still maybe third best in the SEC East.
Maybe
fourth, because you got Tennessee and Kentucky.
Yeah, Florida has a chance to stop that discussion this weekend.
Yeah. So that SEC East, I said it in our college preview show. To me, that's the best division in football.
Is it really though? I mean, Arkansas looked good.
Yeah.
Arkansas looked good.
Yeah, but
LSU
and then you got LSU. Well,
horrible.
They lost to Florida State.
LSU. It's a dumpster fire in Baton Rouge, man. It's a dumpster fire.
All right, let's
after
talk
week one.
There were 3 games, and I've touched on a couple of them already, and you just touched on one. So 3 games that really were fun games to watch. Good finish,
Right.
The UNC App game.
Oh yeah.
63-61. App scored 40 points in the fourth quarter.
Yeah, it was a combined 62 points in the fourth quarter.
Yep.
Both teams, crazy. Yep. And how good did Drake May look? He was committed to Bama.
Yeah, I know. Yeah,
I knew you knew that.
Oh yeah.
I mean, I had to quiz him.
Well, one mistake that UNC made was on that onside kick. If he takes a knee instead of running it for a touchdown,
right,
they run the clock out. App never has a chance.
Yeah, but who's?
Yeah, I mean,
it's
hard in that moment to
pick it
not
up
do
run.
it. And then, of course, App scores with 14 seconds left. Got the game tying 2-point conversion, and the wide receiver just forgets to close his hands.
Yeah.
So that was an exciting game. A lot of points.
It was a great game. Great game.
What a good game to watch if you love defense.
I thought UNC had. I told everybody in the pregame, the pre-season show we had, that UNC's defense was going to be their strength.
Yeah.
And the quarterback was the question.
Yeah.
The quarterback's not the question.
No.
And they had a quarterback battle going into the final week of preseason.
Right.
And if that's a battle, then there's second quarterback's got to be really good too.
And poor App, they get to go to Texas A&M this weekend.
Yeah, I like that game though. I think that could be a sneaky game.
Yeah. And then you just mentioned the FSU LSU game, and poor O'Brien Kelly.
That game was a snooze fest in the first half.
Yes, it was.
It was a snooze fest, man. But it was good. It was a good game. I think I'm not an FSU fan. I'm not a hater of FSU at all.
Maybe they can build on this.
I think it was a building block for Norvell. I think he's got to. I don't know. Maybe I'm speaking out of turn. He's got to be feeling the Deion Sanders heat.
Yeah.
Yeah. I think that's a natural fit soon too. I think it's a very soon fit.
He's shown that he's a legit head coach.
It's to me
and a hell of a recruiter.
I know we're bouncing around tonight, but we might as well. College football's back. I'm happy, man. Yeah, I think Deion going to FSU should have been a done deal, but it's definitely a building block for Florida State. I mean,
well, and you touched on it earlier, Keyshawn Boutte. One game, and he's already scrubbed his socials of LSU. I see this playing out like Jamar Chase. He may not even play the rest of the year and just start training for the draft.
Yeah, I mean, he's got the pedigree, but I mean...
I bet he wishes he transferred to Bama now.
I bet he does.
He wanted to come with his buddy Ricks,
I
and
bet he does. He could have come with Burton and put up 2 TDs in his first game. Burton looked good.
You know, that was the only SEC loss of the weekend.
I know. Yeah, SEC was looking really, really dominant going into that one. But I mean, I figured that game was 50-50. I wasn't sold. I mean, LSU's been struggling. They struggled for quarterbacks, except for the Joe Burrow. I mean,
Brian Kelly's going to have to grow a set and go for it. You know, you already had a field goal blocked.
Man, I don't know about Brian Kelly.
You already had a field goal blocked. You somehow managed to get this drive at the end of the game where you have a chance to win. You have a chance to reward your players. You go for the extra point instead of 2 point.
Knowing your kicking game.
Knowing that your special teams
exactly.
And what did they do? They blocked the extra point for the win.
Yeah.
So, you know, hats off to FSU. Like I said, I hope they take this and run with it and have a great season.
I think it can be a building block for them for sure.
And then the other game that wasn't supposed to be a close game was Florida and Utah. And,
man, that Anthony Richardson, man,
his stats weren't flashy, but he's a load. He's
the real deal.
I mean, that size.
He's Cam Newton.
You know, they talked. I seen some preseason or whatever you want to call them, early mock drafts for next year's NFL draft, and he's been getting a lot of love because of that size. Like you said, the Cam Newton comparisons.
Yeah, I mean, and he's a better thrower at this stage. He's got a rifle for an arm.
And he'll get better as the year goes on too. So he's got a good coach working with him. But one thing, you know, I was able to check the polls before we started recording tonight, and in the coaches poll, Utah's still ahead of Florida. That got Utah 15th and Florida 19th. The AP got it right. They've got Florida at 12 and Utah 13.
Coaches have always said they sometimes they're not even the ones making the vote.
It's their secretaries.
The coaches poll needs to get thrown out, man. If you're coaching a Power 5 team, when do you have time to really watch?
Yeah, I mean
the games.
A lot of times, I mean, Texas got a preseason number 1 ranking. I mean, number 1 vote. You know, a lot of times coaches will manipulate this to help get the teams you're playing a higher rate. And I'm not saying it was Saban, but I ain't saying it wasn't.
Yeah, coaches poll's garbage. Let's go back to Florida a minute. How bad was Mullen that he wasn't playing Richardson? I mean, I know he probably wasn't ready, but was Emory Jones ready?
You know,
wasn't that his name, Emory Jones?
Yeah, you know, I was going to say Mellon. Mullen, he's always like that 2 QB system. You know, I mean, he did it with Tebow his first time at Florida. He did it some with Dak and some of those guys at Mississippi State. He likes to make it about him, not about the players.
And that's why he's in the booth.
Yeah. And he's not very good at that
no,
either.
He's not good at that.
He didn't make our list that we're gonna go to.
No, but he's on the watch list. He is on the watch list because he was terrible.
All right, now let's dive a little deeper into that top 5.
All right, let's do it.
All right, you want to go from 5 to 1, or you want to go from 1 to 5?
Let's go 5 to 1.
Okay, so number 5, one word. Overrated.
I knew you.
As always, you know,
they're always
Notre
overrated.
Dame. They always get the benefit of the doubt.
They do. It's terrible. I'm so sick of that brand.
And they only fell to 9.
Yeah,
after the loss. I mean, of course,
they didn't play horrible.
And it was the number 2 team. And if Ohio State is what everybody thinks they are, then they actually gave them a pretty good game defensively. Now, offensively, they really couldn't get anything going.
No, they're very pedestrian on offense, and so they're definitely, to me, probably a top 10 team.
I would put them right about where they are, 9, 10, 11. Right there. They're not.
I like the AP poll.
I
don't have a whole lot of problems with the AP poll ever.
It's pretty accurate. I mean, you got the people that are actually covering it.
Yeah, exactly.
And watching it, and they are being real with it.
Yeah,
like
sure.
I said, the coaches either let somebody else do it, or they have an ulterior motive, or like you said, just get rid of the coaches poll. It's
it's
really, both polls are meaningless. It's the college football playoff poll that really counts. But the AP poll,
I mean, we got to have something to talk about in the offseason.
the
for
AP
sure.
poll.
I mean, to be honest with you, Georgia should have been number one preseason.
Well, and
I think if you're the defending champion, you should start out number one.
Probably, but I think the only reason they didn't was just because of how many hit
but look
players
at their
they lost.
recruiting. I mean, their cupboards are full. Anyway, okay, so we both agree Notre Dame 5. That was garbage. We knew it was a matter of time.
They're out, and your boys are in. Michigan moves in. Like I said, they're 4 in the AP, and they're 5 in the coaches. And then Clemson, who's number 4, they stay number 4 in the coaches, and they flip-flop, or they drop behind Michigan.
I like them too, man. You know, I wasn't sold on Michigan prior to the season.
Mm-hmm.
Now, I realize it was Colorado State. Keep in mind, I know I'm being objective.
Right, yeah. I mean, you can't – it's been 1 week or 1.5 weeks.
One thing about Michigan that I've – as an Alabama alum and an Alabama first and foremost fan, our cupboards are always full.
Yep.
And I've gotten used to that. And at Michigan, you would think it would have been the same, but it hasn't.
Right.
It hasn't been. And they actually got hit hard defensively with the draft last year. But it looked to me Saturday that they were plug and play. They plugged and played with new players, a new scheme.
Mm-hmm.
And they looked good defensively, really, really good defensively. Offensively, their line has to get better.
Well, and it seems like they're still not sold on one quarterback versus the other.
I think this Saturday they're going to be, because I think J.J. McCarthy's the better quarterback. He's certainly the better athlete, the better arm. I know Cade is good and solid, but I think J.J. will emerge. I mean, I think Michigan's a borderline playoff team if they can get by the Buckeyes.
They were in it last year.
Yeah. So I like them being at 4 now.
Okay.
I'm cool with that.
Yeah, so Clemson, I put you on pause earlier. You wanted to talk about DJ. And, I put in my notes, DJ, ooey, no way.
No way.
I just don't think that they're going to be able to
there's something
to win.
He's not wired correctly.
And I don't know if his confidence got shook last season.
I mean, how could he not? He was shook from the get-go.
I mean, his freshman year when he filled in those few games for Trevor, he looked amazing.
He did.
And then the offense was handed to him his sophomore year. Terrible.
And as a Clemson fan, there's no way you can be happy with last night. You can't after looking at the stats.
No.
And he held the ball too long. He took sacks. He made some good throws.
Yeah,
but he should.
He's got talent. It's just
he's got arm talent.
To me, it's starting to look. I mentioned Trevor Lawrence. It's starting to look like. Remember Kelly Bryant?
Yep.
He was the incumbent. He was supposed to be handed the keys to the car.
Mm-hmm. He was looking over his shoulder.
He wasn't doing it, and Dabo handed the job to
the freshman,
to Trevor, and that might be what happens here. Georgia Tech has won 9 games in the last 3 years.
Right.
And
they looked really good.
And for
under a new coach, new scheme.
Yeah.
They look good. They look good.
They look good, but Clemson did not look good at all.
No. My Will Shipley as a sleeper for Heisman took a little bit of a hit.
Yeah.
Last night he
did get a couple touchdowns.
Yeah, he's still a talent, but I just don't. Clemson's not top 5 right now.
Okay. So I've got UGA listed next because they were 3, and I did my notes before the polls came out.
Yeah,
they are number 2 now. They jumped Ohio State in both polls. Like you said, I didn't see any drop off.
They looked better.
I think they looked better on offense.
Much better on offense.
And the defense under Kirby's always going to be top notch.
Well, and you're just plugging in. You can replace defensive players. Defensively, you're always ahead of the offense early on.
Yeah.
So, I mean, definitely the defense.
Now, I still think Georgia's got some tough games coming up.
Yeah,
like I said,
do.
I am.
But could
I'm sold
Stetson
on that.
Bennett be any better? I mean, I swear he's in my early Heisman.
He's like Baker Light to me. You know that because I'm not sold on Baker's talent, but
Sure.
But Baker's got that moxie.
Yeah.
The mailman, Stetson Bennett, has got that moxie, especially now that he's got a national championship ring on his finger. He's got even more moxie now.
Yeah, absolutely.
And,
he's rolling with some serious confidence.
For every, you got to respect the guy. Is he going to test off the charts? No. Is he going to be a starting NFL quarterback? Who knows? Maybe, maybe not. I mean,
Right. He's going to get a shot for sure.
But he's got a shot at winning back-to-back natties.
Yeah, I mean, I mean, they look good, man. I don't know what I could say anything more about them. I definitely think Oregon was inferior. I thought it before the game started. I didn't think they were 49-3
but you
to
always
3
talk
inferior.
so highly of West Coast football.
Yeah, I love West Coast football. They're just so big in the trenches.
Yeah.
And the announcers, they were like, is it you or is it me? Does Oregon just look small up front? What the
Have they not been watching football the last 15 years?
Have you not been watching Oregon? That's why I don't like West Coast football. You can't. That's the difference between the SEC and West Coast is in the trenches. Does Oregon have a 6'4", 330-pounder running a 4.6?
Yeah.
Or what did he run? 4.8, 4.9?
With a 46-inch vertical. I mean,
come on, man. That's the difference.
Yeah.
Is the trenches.
Oh yeah.
It's the trenches. We got guys that can run sideline to sideline, 300-pounders in the trenches. That's the difference. People from the Big Ten don't understand it until you come down here and see it.
Right. Which the Big Ten is the closest, with your Ohio States and Michigans.
Sure.
But
yeah, because they recruit.
Yeah.
They recruit nationally, but yeah, no, Oregon, I don't think. But I mean, you can't. I don't want to take that away from Georgia.
Right. No,
I mean that was a solid W, and they handled to me an inferior team the way they should.
Exactly.
They look good.
Yeah. No, you got to give them credit. Like I said, I didn't see any drop off, and I think the offense is more balanced, more well-rounded this season than they were last year.
Yeah, I think they are a total better team, maybe.
Yeah. So it's going to be.
It is going to be
fun.
Mm-hmm.
It's going to be fun to watch the season unfold. Ohio State, where was their offense?
They struggled. Struggled. I was not impressed for sure.
The run game, that running back, he looked good, and their defense did good.
Yeah, but their defense,
but there again is
a pedestrian Notre Dame offense.
Exactly.
And if you have some dynamic playmakers, which I don't believe Notre Dame does,
they got that tight end. That's about it. But he's not. I wouldn't call him dynamic.
I mean, Georgia's tight ends are game changers.
Yeah.
Notre Dame's one tight end is good, but he's not a game changer.
Yeah. The question I got for Ohio State, like I said, where's the offense and how long is Jackson going to be out? Because he.
Yeah, that's big.
He's a huge loss.
He is a huge loss. The continuity of the offense changed with him because, I mean, he's probably 35% play share.
Right. And I know it's only 1 week, and I know a lot of people like to overreact and all that, but if he has to miss 3-4 games, him and Stroud probably are out of the Heisman conversation.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. Definitely Smith and Najigba's
Yeah,
out
he
of
definitely
it,
would be. But
that's definitely
it's going to impact Stroud's
yeah, for
campaign.
sure. His numbers, for sure.
So you hate to see that.
No, not really. Not really.
I wasn't really a sincere.
Well, I'm being objective. I'm saying
Ohio
State.
I'm saying my comment.
I know. No, I'm not going to be.
No, I don't never wish it for an injury.
No, of course not. Me neither. Not even to the Buckeyes. I mean, and I like Jackson. I think he's a heck of a player for sure.
Yes, he is.
But it doesn't hurt my feelings for them to struggle.
Right.
And I would love to see Michigan smack them in November for sure.
So, obviously, with the eye test, everybody that does have a vote in the AP and the coaches poll thought Georgia was definitely the more impressive. So they took over number 2. Ohio State dropped to number 3 in both polls. Number 1 for the second week in a row, Alabama. The only thing I said with them is
Roll
business as usual. Bryce and Will, they did their things.
That was a decent Utah State team. Not like they were a complete pushover. I mean, I don't want to prop them up too much, but like you said, Bryce, he was efficient.
I was glad to see him spread the ball around. I mean, his passing yards weren't off the chart.
No, but I mean,
but his touchdowns and his rushing, he rushed for 100 and scored a touchdown, and he threw 5 touchdown passes.
5, yeah.
2 to Burton, 2 to Holden, and then 1 to
Prentice.
The rookie, right? Kolby.
Prentice.
Yeah.
Yeah, he looked good, man. He looked really good. I was a little worried about our line, and they didn't look great.
I mean, they still got some growing to do.
Yeah.
I mean, our center was SEC Offensive Lineman of the Week.
Yeah,
So apparently,
that's right.
you don't. To me, I don't even really notice the centers, but apparently he did some good things.
Don't really focus too much on the line, but he must have did good.
Right.
No, I mean, I watched the line because I'm looking for. I like that push. I'd like our running backs to get a yard past the line of scrimmage before they have to make a decision.
Right.
And I was a little. I was on a takeaway. If I had to have a takeaway, it would be that our O-line, could get better, and then we didn't have that explosive Jamison Williams over the top that we got to find.
That's what my question going in. There was 3 of them. Was the offensive line, which you just discussed, the wide receiver core, and how that was going to play out.
Yeah,
and it played out how I was hoping it was going to play out, where it was not just one diamond. You had Jamison last year. The year before, you had Devontae Smith.
Yep.
This year, it seems like we've got 5 guys.
True.
Because Ja'Cory Brooks,
he was out there.
He was out there, but he didn't really have to be counted on for a lot.
I mean, I watched him. He was open. He was open.
That's what I'm saying.
Bryce went through a progression or two and hit the man that was open.
That's what I was really wanting to see, because that shows Bryce's development, that he can spread the ball around to that many people. And Cameron Latou wasn't even playing, so that would be another target.
Yeah, that's another weapon.
So he spread the ball around good. He had good reads. So I wanted to see a more balanced receiving attack than what we've had the last 2 seasons.
Yeah, no,
and I did see that, so I was glad to see that.
That's a very good point, because last year, we've said many times that we were a 2-man show, really.
Yep. And when we lost one of them,
then it was down to one, and then we lost him, and it was it. So
over.
You're right. No, that's a very good thing for us to be able to count on.
Yeah, and I hope Nick continues to sprinkle them all in and get them all going. I think Nick kind of learned a little bit about the way they did it last year, that this year we got to get these other younger second and third stringers more playing time early.
Kind of hard, though, when Jamison's running 15 yards behind the defense. Yeah. Or if you're double covering Jamison.
Yeah, and then Mechie
was running across the middle. I mean, it was just an abundance of riches with those two.
And then my last question mark was the corners. Because...
yeah, I think it's still a question mark after that game.
Yeah, because, I was impressed with some of the things they did, but then also I think there was some missed plays out there.
I mean, typical Bama playing with their back to the ball. It's always drives me crazy. But that's how Saban has always coached their DBs. So you can't really fault him. I don't know that I can find a fault with Nick Saban.
Yeah, who am I? Who am I to criticize the GOAT?
Well, I'm going to criticize it. I don't like how they do it, but I'm always yelling, "Turn around!" But I get it. No, I like Bama. I mean, they had a great week 1. They handled business.
Yeah, they'll have a bigger challenge this week. I still think they should handle. I think they're a 20-point favorite. I think they opened at 17 and it's up to 20 now.
Yeah.
So, I hope it's a good game, but I hope we dominate.
Yeah, me too. I mean, Sark's probably got something up his sleeve.
Oh, yeah.
He's a good game planner. We get to go play A.G. Hall. You know, we get to.
Well, he is
see
back
him.
on the roster, but
Is he going to play?
I don't know if he's going to play. And I know the tight end. What was his name? Number 19. The one that transferred from Bama.
Yeah,
I'm drawing a blank now.
Should have prepped me before we started.
Well,
the show.
I just saw that he's suspended for the first 6 games.
Oh, how about that?
Yeah, and supposedly it's for something that happened while he was at Bama.
Oh wow, Drew Sanders looked good.
Yeah,
at
yeah.
Arkansas.
Yep.
Incidentally,
that's not the name I was looking for.
no, but
I
that's
can't
what
believe
came to my mind.
can't believe I forgot his name. That's going to bug me the rest of the show. But
number 19. Oh, I know who you're talking about. Doesn't shock me that he's suspended.
Right.
But it's from I can't. He's from Chicago.
I can't think of his name.
He's from Chicago. I can't remember his name. At any rate, we don't forgot you, buddy, because you're no longer wearing a banner gear. But thanks for the time that you were there.
Yeah.
Appreciate
So that'll
all them
be
drop passes.
So that'll be a bigger challenge next week. See a better gauge of where we're at, our offensive line and stuff like that. So looking forward to that game next week.
Yeah, that'll be a good one. Of course, that's going to be a good one. I'm looking forward to South Carolina, Arkansas.
Yes,
I'd like to see. South Carolina didn't look very good. You know, Spencer Rattler. You know, his first game was a little iffy, but that's going to be a good game. And what about the Wake Forest Vandy game?
Yeah,
Vandy's looking pretty
preseason. Who would have thought that would be a game to watch?
I think that's a game to watch. Of course, you know, then App State.
We already mentioned A&M, and we mentioned the Kentucky Florida game. That's a huge game this early in the season.
That is a huge game. That's a big game for Florida, I think, and Kentucky because they struggled.
Yeah.
So I think that'll be a big statement game for Florida. And then the last game, the sleeper game, is Baylor at BYU.
Mm-hmm.
I think that's because I know you're pretty high on Baylor.
Yeah, yep.
So is the country.
Yep.
High on Baylor, I think. And BYU, that's tough.
That's a good test for Baylor to see where they're at. See if they're going to
be a good one. Week 2 will be good.
Yeah, there's some better games week 2, and they'll continue to get better each week. And I'm just glad football season's here.
Oh yeah, Billingsley, Jaleel Billingsley. That's who it was. I can't believe we forgot.
Thanks to
Jaleel.
Stat Girl.
Yeah.
Thank you, Jerry.
Thanks, JJ, Stat Girl.
Jaleel Billingsley.
Yeah, Jaleel. Yeah, I appreciate all them drop passes, Jaleel.
Yeah.
Good luck. Good luck to you at Texas for sure.
This is a new football season.
That's right. All right, man.
Speaking of, dropping passes and
dropping the ball
and in general, and I've been wanting to do a segment on how do they still have a job, and so it's open for players, coaches, reporters, anything sports related. Let's just banter,
all right,
and rant. And I'm gonna back up. We were talking earlier about this young man. And I want to know, how does DJ Uyunglele still have the starting quarterback job at Clemson? Like I mentioned, he looked good his freshman year filling in for Trevor.
Yeah, just in spot times.
His 2021 stats, putrid.
They're ugly.
55% completion percentage in college. I mean, you should be pushing 70 in college.
Yeah, that's really bad.
9 touchdowns to 10 interceptions.
That's really bad for a 5-star.
Yeah, for
Elite 11.
Yeah, he was supposed to be
better,
or on the same level as Bryce Young.
Yep.
Bryce went on to win a Heisman, and he threw for 9 touchdowns.
Been passed by a handful of other Elite 11 quarterbacks for sure.
Yeah. So this year, his first game, 19 of 32. So he improved to 59.4%, which is still not super impressive for only 209 yards
against the 9th or 10th best defense in the ACC.
Right, and 1 touchdown. Yeah. And he did run a touchdown in and was taunting while he was running it in.
Yeah,
like he had something to taunt about.
Yeah, I did.
So his backup, the freshman,
Cole Klubnik,
4 for 6. So he was 67%, which is where you want to be. for 50 yards and a touchdown.
A little mop-up duty. I mean, I had a discussion with Clemson guy today on that. I was like, temper your opinion on him yet.
Yeah. I mean, it was just, but I mean, I heard a lot of good things about him in camp too.
Well, so. I mean, what tipped you off that he was going to be decent? That 5-star? I mean, that's what I'm saying. He's a 5-star, so he's going to be. He's gonna have the
DJ was
resume.
a 5-star too.
I know. Yeah, but I think
how many 5 stars showed up at Bama and Blake Barnett and
the game definitely looks too fast for DJ.
I'm shocked. I actually did think he had the potential to have a better college career than Bryce.
Well, I watched last night just to watch him, because I know I told you he lost 30, 35 pounds.
Yeah.
I thought he was going to bounce back. He made a couple of good throws, but, man, he holds on to the ball too long. And I got to believe by watching last night that Dabo was only giving him half the field, really, to decide who to throw it to.
Right.
He did not have the full field. There was no way you could tell me he had 4 progressions plus.
Well, and one thing we didn't talk about when we were talking about Clemson, two new coordinators.
Right.
New OC, new DC.
We talked about that, you and I, that Dabo dealing with some stuff. Some of these coaches haven't had to deal with some turnover in their own.
Well, their next 3 games are Furman, La Tech, and then Wake. So I'm thinking
quarterback controversy.
If
maybe?
He does, I mean, you got to put up big numbers against Furman and La Tech.
I would think.
And then if he struggles against Wake Forest, I think we see the freshman against NC State, which is their next game.
Possibly, yeah.
So these next 3 games are, I think, huge for DJ. If he doesn't step his game up over these next 3 games, I think he loses his job.
That's a decent start to this segment.
Yep.
I got a name for you.
You got another player?
Yeah, I got a player.
Player to talk about?
I got a player. I don't even have him in my notes, so I'm just gonna go off the cuff. But I've always wondered, how does Josh Gordon still got a job in the NFL?
He keeps getting jobs.
How does he keep getting? He's not that good. Is he really that good?
He had 1 great season with Cleveland.
Out of how many? What is he, 7 seasons in, and he's been...
I can't even tell you because he's been suspended numbers of times.
He's been suspended more than he's played.
Yeah.
How does he still have a job? I don't have any crazy stats to give because I honestly just don't understand why they're giving this guy a job over another, young receiver that has some potential but might be a little rough.
Well, it kind of goes to like the Bills punter that got cut because he's a punter.
Right.
So he's disposable. But Josh Gordon gets chance after chance after chance after
chance. Too many chances.
And he really, like I said, had 1 good season.
And he just gets re-signed to a practice squad. The Titans. Of all teams, the Titans.
Well, they need wide receiver help.
Do.
So they went out and grabbed one, and we'll see how long he stays there. But, I agree. How does he continuously have a job?
He shouldn't.
You know why he has a job? Because there's people like Mike Tannenbaum.
Yeah, I'm curious to hear your story.
So,
on Tannenbaum. Why are you on Tannenbaum?
He just rubs me the wrong way. He was the GM of the Jets. He was average. 57 wins, 55 losses. Mm-hmm. 0 division titles. He was executive VP of operations for the Dolphins. 29 wins, 35 losses, 0 divisions. So his front office career, average at best. And then in 2019, ESPN hires him to be their NFL front office insider. So you think, okay, we're going to get some good behind-the-scenes dish. And all his takes are either obvious, that me and you already know. You're not
Instagram takes
exactly
that the whole world already
or
knows.
They're just so outrageous that it's almost like shock value. So I said they should rename the segment whenever he's on to Tannenbaum's Terrible Takes. And I mean his player evaluation when he was GM was horrendous.
Yeah.
So why would ESPN want because they're asking him to evaluate and make judgments on moves that the teams are making or draft picks or this. But he couldn't do it when he was that guy, and now you got him critiquing those guys. It just doesn't make any sense to me. So
ESPN doesn't make a lot of sense to me anymore. But
yeah. So he's one that I'm like, yeah. How does he still have a job?
I'm gonna give you a commentator.
Okay.
How about Sean McDonough? And now maybe it's personal for me because he was on the call when Michigan State blocked that last-second punt against Michigan.
I don't really have a problem with
McDonough. He makes every call sound like it's the greatest, the biggest call ever.
Yeah,
I don't like that.
He does over.
He's an overactor.
Yeah.
You know, as bad as people say Troy Aikman is as being just monotone and boring.
I've never had that issue with Troy Aikman.
Me neither.
Yeah.
I think your announcer should be kind of like that. You know,
I mean, be in the moment. Yeah, if it deserves that extra, give it that extra, but not.
No, but
all the time.
I admit the block punt against Michigan. You know, he should have, and he scores. I mean, he should have been like that. I get it.
Right.
But I mean, he makes every play. He blows everything out of proportion.
Right.
And to me, that's just distracting. So I don't understand how he is going to be calling all these big, massive games that he's going to be calling coming up.
Yeah. Well, another one that I see on your list over there, another commentator, former NFL player, Booger McFarland.
Yeah, Booger.
I was glad that they wised up and took him off of Monday Night Football because that was painful.
How often is he wrong?
All the time.
And then you're going to stick him on a moving cart with his back to the field, moving him up and down the field where he can't even see the play, and you expect him to add color.
But they
to the game.
love finding him new assignments.
They love him.
Well, he sucked at this one, so let's put him here.
He's terrible.
Well, he's proven over and over again that every job you've given him, he hasn't done a good one. So why do you keep him around? I mean, they pulled Randy Moss off of You Got Moss. I mean, that was one of the best segments
easily
of Sunday Game Day.
One of the best segments.
And they keep this guy. It doesn't make any sense to me.
And on the Randy Moss, you know, I'm gonna tell you right now, I invented that saying. He stole that from me.
Okay.
So we're going to start our own.
Come on, man.
I invented that, man.
Who else you got? I see another former NFL player over there.
One of your former boys.
Yeah.
Danny Cannell. Mr. I hate the SEC.
Yep.
I mean, now here's the thing on Danny Cannell. I'm going to give him props. His podcast is good. He's got good takes on it.
I've never listened to it and never would want to.
Well, I've listened to it just out of boredom, sheer boredom, and it popped up. But he is so anti-Bama, so anti-SEC.
Yeah.
It's just hard to even take him serious and listen.
Yeah,
His takes are so outrageous.
I agree. You know, speaking of outrageous takes, I can't believe anybody still turns in to listen to Skip Bayless.
Oh gosh!
I mean, I the world's biggest homer. Every single year, the Dallas Cowboys are going to win the Super Bowl, and the Oklahoma Sooners are going to win the national championship.
Yeah, he's horrible.
I mean,
I don't even know that he watches anything outside of Dallas and Oklahoma. I mean, Kevin Durant's not a top 5 NBA player.
Yeah, he loves to go after the shock value.
Josh Freeman better than Cam Newton.
Yeah,
you remember that one?
Oh yeah. Hell, he said this Baker Mayfield was the steal of all ever free agency.
Well, this is the best take I've ever heard. Tim Tebow was as talented at quarterback as Peyton Manning. And here's another one. Johnny Manziel would be bigger than LeBron in Cleveland.
Yeah,
he's a moron.
Like I said, he likes to just say stuff for shock value. I really would like to sit down. Do you really
think he's for shock? Because I mean, he looks like he believes it.
He does. He sells it. That's what I would love to just get him on a lie detector test and hook him up and say, "Do you believe the bullshit that you say every day?"
And how does Sharp not just smack his face in the middle of conversations.
Well, it's funny because one thing I put was he had to leave ESPN because Stephen A. Smith made him look like an idiot on the regular.
Yeah,
he couldn't keep up with Stephen A.
No, Stephen A. will call you out,
right?
For sure,
right.
Well, I got another one for you, Colin Cowherd.
Yeah,
I mean, he is the ultimate shock jock.
I actually will listen to him before I listen to Bayless.
Oh,
but I don't listen to either one of them. But I think
agree.
Cowherd actually has chilled out a little bit. I mean, he still likes that shock. He still wants to go against the popular opinion. But it's not quite as bad as it was.
It used to.
Yeah, like when Skip was big with Stephen A., that's when Colin, I think, was trying to one-up Skip. And then I think he started seeing Skip kind of
slipping, and
so he's like, well, maybe I need to tone mine down a little bit. And so some of his takes have gotten better.
I have to say, his takes lately in the last few years.
Right.
Some of his early takes, he said Dak was a backup tight end at best. But a lot of people had some. I mean, I remember that draft. Ben Simmons would be more fun to watch than LeBron. I mean, that's just a Carson Wentz over Aaron Rodgers.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, that's just a few.
Yeah.
Just a few. But I don't like Colin that much. I can't listen to him. He's one that I just don't understand how he's getting. I think he gets $6 million a year.
Yeah.
I mean, that's just crazy.
I mean, it's all about ratings.
Yeah, it's true.
Clickbaits, and a lot of times negative publicity is good publicity. Any kind of news is any kind of times they can get people to tune in. They don't really care.
And we must be saving
our favorite for last.
Our best for last.
Yes. And this one, I just don't understand this one.
Mr. Danielson.
Gary Danielson, the color analyst for CBS Sports. I mean, he was an average NFL quarterback at best, but he's the worst color analyst in the history of
he's wrong.
Football.
He's just wrong. He's wrong in almost everything.
Well, that's what I said. He tries to have these creative takes to keep, like, especially if the game is going one lopsided one way. He comes up with the craziest stuff that has no factual backing to it whatsoever. It's just, I think he makes the stuff up on the spot.
What's funny is when he tries to give you a play breakdown.
Yeah.
It's like, no wonder you were an average quarterback because you can't break the play down.
Right.
Because he says, and he'll give you an example of a route somebody's running, and then they'll replay it, and the dude doesn't even run the route that he said he ran.
Yeah.
I'm like, what are you looking at? What play are you even looking at?
Exactly. Every time he opens his mouth, it's another example of why he shouldn't have a job.
No, and what's crazy is Vern, when they were together, Vern saved him.
I said Vern carried him. He
did carry him.
He joined CBS in 2006.
Right.
And I said was carried by Vern Lundquist.
He was carried by Vern.
Until Vern.
And I used to judge Vern harshly because of Danielson, Vern is a golf. He calls golf. He calls big major events, and Vern is great.
Well, I hated when Vern stepped down, but I was praying that Gary was going to go with him.
Sure.
I think we had that conversation, and unfortunately, Gary didn't go with him.
No.
So, yes, that, to me, is the ultimate, how does he still have a job?
Yeah, he shouldn't. Clearly, there's got to be some better ones.
Have you got any other guys or gals that you wanted to? I did have one.
I mean, I don't like, I can't remember her name now. What's her name? McGowan? Beth McGowan. I'm not a huge fan of her on a Saturday Big Ten game. I don't.
Is it her voice?
It's her voice. Because it's not her. It's not her analysis because she knows the game. She does.
But
it's
her
just
voice
her voice. Something's just not right. It's
right.
It's just.
And speaking of Saturday, I had an honorable mention, and love the man, loved the segment on game day where he puts on the mascot heads, but I think it's just time for Lee Corso to retire. I mean, he's hard to understand. He slurs his words. Kirk is carrying him.
Kirk carries him.
Kirk. So maybe, and I think they have started. You see more of David Pollock in there.
Yeah, they're pulling back on his.
I think they are
sure.
lightening his load. I think they see it too.
Yeah. Well, they don't want him to look foolish.
And that's why I'm saying I don't mean this in an ugly way.
No. I mean, he's.
I just think they kept Lou Holtz around way too long.
I mean,
I don't want
Corso's at least likable.
Exactly. Yeah.
Lou Holtz.
So yeah, he's one I listed as honorable mention, but only because I just think it's time.
Go out on top. Go out as the laughing stock.
Right.
I mean, and we should have a list like how do they not think he's good, or how do they not think why he doesn't have a job? Like, I see so much hate on Kirk Herbstreit.
Yeah.
And as bad as I don't like Ohio State, I absolutely think Herbie is one of the greatest.
Well, but because
for college football.
Who is it that's talking bad about him? Guys like Skip Bayless and Colin Cowherd.
Well, I see other fans on message boards saying how biased he is.
Yeah.
And I think he's the opposite.
I've never considered him biased. I think Paul Feinbaum is more biased towards Alabama than Kirk Herbstreit is towards OSU.
Yeah, for sure.
So I agree. I agree with you on that. That sometimes it's like, why the hate?
Yeah, there's hate, and there's hate for Romo.
Yeah, maybe that's a segment we need to do. Why the hate?
Yeah, why hate Romo? Tell me he's not right.
Oh,
pre-snap.
Oh yeah,
100% of the time. I've never seen him wrong.
Yeah, no, he.
And Troy Aikman tries to kind of emulate that. And he makes a lot of mistakes. But Tony Romo,
right?
How was he not that great a quarterback? I mean, I know he was decent.
Just physical limitations.
I mean, he seems to know it from the booth.
Right.
Yeah, that would be a good segment.
Okay.
That's I like this discussion.
Yeah, I mean, something, little off the radar type of discussion.
I think we've all had the discussion for sure.
Yeah.
That you can't stand certain reporters, you can't stand certain commentators, maybe certain athletes. I would definitely like to hear some feedback. And
shoot us some emails or comments in the section, in the YouTube video or on our TikToks or.
Yeah, we definitely like to carry that
Let
conversation on. For
disagree with us, agree with us. Who did we leave off? Who did we forget?
Got to be some people left off.
Oh, absolutely. You were naming some, and I was like, I meant to include him. I just remembered Gary Danielson on my way home from work today.
No way.
Yeah, I was like,
he was first on my list.
Well, I mean, he's definitely first on my list, but I was driving home and I was like, who am I forgetting? And then it hit me. And I was like, oh, how did I forget him? He's the one that of all the people.
Right. No, it definitely could.
Because some of these guys still have some worth, but him, I think he's worthless.
Yeah.
Like I said, I'm not totally giving up on DJ. But
tell us how you really feel.
But if DJ doesn't do something these next 3 weeks, he's going to be playing somewhere else next year.
He clearly is an example of why the stars don't really matter.
Right.
As much as we follow recruiting, I mean, there's 5-star, 4-star, the 5-star Bama bump, whatever you want to call it. I mean, he just looks like the game is way too fast for him.
Right. Well,
cool.
I think that's another good discussion.
That was episode 7.
Episode 7. We made it over that magic hump.
You ain't got rid of us yet.
No,
not going to.
No.
Not going to. We like to do this.
So I've got some bourbon set up over at the bar for us. We're going to do a little bourbons finished in wine barrels. I got a port barrel, a Cabernet barrel, and a what was the other one? Drawing a blank here. Is I didn't write it down.
Cabernet cask?
That's Cabernet. Oh, it's 2 Cabernets.
Yeah,
that's what's throwing me. It's 2 Cabernet. 2 Cabernet cask and a port barrel. So we'll make our way over to the bar and then we'll taste those bourbons and then we will rate that shit.
Cheers.
We
made our way over to the bar for the segment of Rate That Shit.
Yeah, I selected 3 bourbons for us tonight that have all been finished in a type of wine barrel. First one we're going to do is Angel's Envy, and it's finished in a port wine barrel. And then these 2, the Burning Chair and the I.W. Harper, are both finished in Cabernet barrels. Right. So the Angel's Envy is actually distilled in Louisville, Kentucky. It's aged for 4 years, and then they age it an additional 6 months in the port barrel. It goes for about $55 a bottle. It is 86.6 proof. They do not disclose the mash, so I can't give you the details on the mash. But it's supposed to give you a vanilla, fruit, and a maple. So let's dive into the Angel's Envy.
Cool.
And see what we think. It's actually a pretty popular bourbon in this area.
Yeah, they always, at the ABC store, always recommend this one. Maybe we should tell them about I guess we should probably talk about our
the rating system.
Yeah,
we can.
Why we forgot the rating
I'm
system.
sure all of our viewers have watched our episodes, but we might, have some new ones
that's right.
that we need to explain it to them.
Well, let's talk about our rating system. We have our own unique rating system at Bourbon Buzzed and Ballin. We rate everything on a 1 to 4 scale. A 1 being our bottom of the level or bottom of the line. We don't like it. Didn't fit our taste buds. We call that a brown bag.
Yeah, not one we would recommend.
That's right. We don't brown bag too many.
No.
But, some bourbons are brown bag.
And we might brown bag it because...
Economics.
I mean, it tastes pretty good, but not for what they're charging for it. So if it's an economic issue, that might cause us to
brown bagged the Woodford.
You did.
Double oak.
The double oak, you did, because you didn't think
it wasn't worth the money.
Right, exactly. So
number 2 on our rating scale, it's good. It's a good bourbon, but you're gonna mix it. You're gonna put we call it a mixer. So, you put in some Coke, ginger ale, whatever.
Something to soften it a little bit,
yeah,
help you get through it.
Yep. Third, it's getting better. So our level 3. On the rocks.
Yeah.
That's a good way to sip a bourbon, on the rocks.
Yeah, because I like I like a chilled drink anyway. So
right.
It's very rare that I'm not going to at least put a rock cube in it.
Right.
Unless it's one that I just love the taste.
Absolutely.
And that's the one. Our 4th one.
Top shelf, 4th. It's so good you don't want to dilute it. And that is neat. That's it. That's our favorite. That's my favorite level.
Yep.
Is neat. That's the way I prefer a bourbon at room temp.
Yep. Hopefully we're gonna find one tonight. Like I said, these are all highly recommended bourbons. They're all $50+ also. So that you're getting into the pricier.
You might have a brown bagger out of this.
These 2 our price rating system. We also do a $1 sign, $2 sign, $3 sign. $1 being below $30, $2 signs being $30 to $50, and then the $3 signs being over $50.
Yeah.
So these first 2 that we're checking, like I said, the Angel's Envy is $55, and so that would be for our price rating system a $3 sign. So let's. It's got a nice smell.
Good smell.
Nice,
good color.
sweet. And I'm not a wine drinker, but I do enjoy a good port after dinner. So
right off the top, I get that fruitiness.
I was just going to say that same thing.
Yep.
The first thing that hit the middle of my tongue was a little fruit.
A little fruitiness to it. Got a little hug to it.
A little hug. Maybe
got some legs, got a few extra.
Yeah,
vanilla.
When you
vanilla
were
on the back end.
Yeah. When you were talking and swirling, I was noticing the legs on your glass. I was checking out your legs.
Quit looking at my legs, man.
Actually, that's good.
The first time I had, and I'm gonna leave a little bit in that one. That was a heavy pour.
Yeah, but that's good.
The first time I had Angel's Envy, I was like, not that impressed with it.
I've kind of been on a roller coaster ride with Angel's Envy.
Why?
Sometimes I really enjoy it, and then other times I'm like, I'm not, I'm not. It's not worth $55 to me. But now that we've gotten into really rating a lot of bourbons and really being able to compare the different notes and tastes and all that. That's a 3 for me.
That's a good bourbon.
That is good.
That is good. It's very complex. You know, a lot of times I don't get a lot of multiple flavors.
Right.
I don't. That one was complex.
No, yeah, you did. You picked out 2 or 3 different, and I agreed with you. I tasted those notes also, and
I like that one. I agree. I'd rate that shit.
yeah,
a
it's
3.
still not quite to that. You know, we're really being stingy with our 4s.
Well,
we really are.
I could drink that neat.
Oh,
for
absolutely.
Sure. I mean, if that's all you have, but like if you're going into a bar and you're just wanting to splurge, and you want to go for a $50 or more pour, I would probably find many others.
Right.
Other than that one, I mean, I kind of put my nose up to Angel's Envy at the ABC store because I don't really feel like it's a $50 bottle, but after tasting it again, I was impressed.
Yeah, it's a solid 3 for me.
All right.
All right, so the next one we're going to go to is called Burning Chair. And this actually is the Savage and Cook Distillery in Napa Valley, California. So that distillery is owned by Dave Finney, the winemaker. Excuse me. So he hand selects bourbons, small batch bourbons made in Kentucky, Tennessee, and Indiana. And then he brings them back. They've all been aged at least 4 years. And then he has those sent up to Napa Valley, where then he ages them in his Cabernet casks.
Yeah.
And he hasn't disclosed how long he ages them for or any of that kind of stuff. But so it's done there. This one's 88 proof, so it's a little bit stronger than the Angel's Envy, but not much.
You can see it. You can see it in the leg.
Yeah, and this one is actually 75% corn, 21% rye, and 4% malted barley. And there again, you should be getting some fruit, some maple, some vanilla, maybe some apple.
I would imagine some of these are going to be on the dry side too. Now this one wasn't dry to me.
The Angel's Envy was not dry. No.
This one. I realize not everybody.
We have a bad habit of pointing and saying this one and that one, and we forget that we do have a lot of listeners on Spotify. So we apologize. We're trying to be better at not just saying this one or that one or pointing.
I wasn't. I didn't study communications at Alabama.
So yes, we're on the Burning Chair, and we're going to taste it and rate it.
There was some quiet time right there, wasn't it?
Yeah, very smooth. I can get the Cabernet out of it.
Yeah.
It's kind of a floral, more so than, I'm not really getting the apple. I'm getting a little floral.
I felt like I was getting maybe like some pear on that one. I didn't enjoy that one as much as
the Angel's Envy.
Angel's Envy.
Oh, and I didn't mention this is actually $60. So that might influence your.
Yeah, I really don't enjoy it at all for the $60 for sure. I mean, I think most of the blended bourbon people are on the higher side, the dollar sign.
Well, it probably costs them more to manufacture it, so they have to be.
Absolutely. Rate that shit.
Because a lot of times they're sourcing their ingredients,
right. Yeah.
So it's going to cost them more.
I'm coming in at a 2 on that one.
I'm gonna agree with you, following up the Angel's Envy, and it surprises me because I really thought that I would rate that higher than the Angel's Envy, but tonight, I don't know if my taste buds are different after drinking your private stash over there that we drank earlier tonight.
So far, my private stash is holding up good, in my opinion.
I got the Angel's Envy. There again, I'm not a high rye guy, but
right.
So the Angel's Envy, we gave it a 3. The Burning Chair, we're gonna give it a 2.
Yep. Yeah.
And the last one that we're gonna do And this was actually the cheapest of the three. This one comes in right at $50. It was $49.95. This is I.W. Harper Distilling Company. They don't actually do do their own distilling, and they don't disclose where it's being done, or so I don't know what the mash is. I don't know where it's being done.
I'm gonna take a guess for the bourbon people out there. Stitzel Weller. What do you think about Stitzel Weller? I.W. Harper. I think there's a little connection between those two.
We did sample some I.W. Harper while we were there, so that I think they're definitely involved.
I think they're involved.
Just like the Burning Chair, the I.W. Harper is aged for 4 years. As the bourbons, and then put into the Cabernet cask and aged an additional undisclosed time. So this was a mystery. They don't like to tell you a whole lot about this one. It is 90 proof, so it's the strongest of the three that we're sampling tonight. It's supposed to give you, like these others, the vanilla and then some dark cherry also. And that might have been what I was getting from the Burning Chair.
Yeah, I would think we're getting some, because of the barrel.
But one thing I found interesting when they were describing it was they said you should get a creme brulee taste.
All right, yeah, whatever. No way, whatever. Yeah. That's for the real advanced bourbon guy. That's not me. I can promise you that.
That's what they advertise.
We all know I love some creme brulee. Creme brulee. I like the color.
It's a little bit lighter.
Yeah.
Than the others.
Got about the same leg to it.
I do get that cherry smell. I do get the cherry smell.
Yeah, it's definitely sweet smell. Yeah. Vanilla finish for me. Vanilla and
creme brulee.
Yeah, vanilla creme brulee. Definitely get the vanilla finish off of it. And
if you think creme brulee while you drink it, it helps.
Yeah, it does help. A little forward thinking while you're doing it for sure. I actually like that. Is very smooth to me.
Yeah, there's no hug at all. Very sweet, very smooth. What you got on the rating on that I.W. Harper?
That's a high 3 for me.
A high 3?
That's a 3, man. That's a solid 3 for me.
See, I was gonna put it with the Burning Chair. I
like it way better than the Burning Chair.
I think I like the Angel Envy better than this.
I think I do too, but I mean they're gonna come in tied, obviously, with 3 and 3, but.
Yeah, so I
like that.
Well, if you're gonna go high 3, and I'm torn between a 2 and a 3, we'll average it out and we'll give it a 3.
Solid 3.
So
we don't have high and low 3s. I just threw that one out there, but I liked it.
But you were saying you were teetering between a 3 and a 4, and I was teetering between a 2 and a 3. So, like I said, we'll just take that average, and we'll call it a 3.
But I have a like for I.W. Harper. There's that I.W. Harper we've been looking for.
Right. Yeah, and I thought when I saw this bottle, I thought I'd found the one I was looking for.
We had a secret prize, like a secret tasting of I.W. Harper when we were on a tour, and it was I want to say it was a 15-year.
Yeah, unfortunately, I could not partake that day.
Mr. Pro struggled from our day before. So yeah.
The struggle was real.
It was. It was a lot. It was a lot of bourbon, man. That was a lot of bourbon.
Yep.
That was the biggest bourbon week I've ever had. It was good, man. Another good show.
All right, so let's recap then. We got a 3 on the Angel's Envy.
Definitely.
We got a 2 on the Burning Chair.
Strong 3.
Solid 2.
Solid 2.
And another strong 3 on the I.W. Harper.
Strong 3. That's a good bottle. For sure, good value. I mean, it's a high quality bourbon for $50.
Yeah, and that's a good point because I wasn't even factoring in the price.
I mean, it's interesting,
if you're gonna look back and compare, based on the price, then yeah.
Now I used to think $50 was expensive for a bourbon, and
Right. Now it's
now
middle of the road.
I've moved that way on up.
Yeah.
I mean, I'll pay $90 for something and not think about it.
Right.
So,
all right, well, that wraps up episode 7.
episode 7. That was some pretty cool content there.
Yeah,
for sure.
I enjoyed it. It was a little bit something, like I said, a little bit something different than just okay. Let's talk football. You
Right.
know, let's go outside the box.
Yeah.
So we went outside the box tonight. We hope y'all enjoyed that. We kind of even went outside the box because we usually don't drink these types of bourbons. We're
No.
usually just Kentucky straight.
Yeah, it's not our-
but it's good. You
Not
know,
our deal.
you know, these are the types of bourbons that you might want to sip on after dinner.
Yeah.
You know, or even since they're wines and wine, like these are all red wines, probably would pair nice with a steak.
Oh yeah, I think bourbon does pair nice with a steak, especially these, because they're a little more on the dry side.
Yeah.
Yeah. No, it was awesome. Good show, man.
Yeah, good. So next week we'll be back with episode 8, and of course we'll have our opening toast.
Right.
And we never know what the opening toast is going to be until
it changes all the way up until
sometimes the
day
night of
day taping.
we decide who we're going to toast that night. And that's one thing that we didn't originally set out to do, but
It kind of seems.
I love
natural.
it. I
natural.
think it fits with our content.
Yeah.
Because we're cheersing and we're toasting and
We're about some bourbon.
so when you sit down to have a good dinner, you might want to give a toast before the dinner. So it's a good way to start the show off. I'm glad that it has evolved.
Sure.
So yeah, like I said, we'll be starting out next week with the opening toast.
And some coming in hot.
Then we'll come in hot with current
topics.
events, and that also we usually don't know what we're going to talk about
Right.
in the coming in hot segment
That
until
can change the day of.
there again, and then after that
Yeah, we got to recap.
week
Week
one.
one NFL.
NFL starts Thursday night,
That's
first
right.
game. So week 1, we'll recap week 1 of the NFL.
Week 2.
Week 2 of college football.
Yeah.
Some good games on the schedule. Probably won't dive too deep into
No,
college
there's only
next
a
week.
handful of good games.
So we'll probably spend a little bit more time on opening weekend of the NFL, a little bit on the college football, and then we're going to talk Major League Baseball.
Yeah, we need to get
really
into the playoff.
we
discussion.
we talked about Aaron Judge and Albert Pujols tonight. We talked about Albert a couple of times, but we really haven't. We kind of been sitting back waiting for things to get towards the end of the season, because that's when baseball to me is
the season's too long.
it's such a long season.
Yeah.
So I mean, what are you going to talk about week
Right.
after week? So next week we'll finally dive into some baseball. We'll talk. There's only going to be about 3 weeks left in the
Right.
season, so we'll talk about any playoff races that are going on. Who we like, who are the favorites. There's some good teams out there. It's going to be some good competition. So we'll do the baseball playoff race. Then of course after that,
Back to
we're
the
going to
bar.
be right here at the bar, and we'll rate some more bourbons. There again, we usually don't know what bourbons we're going to do until
No,
right up till showtime.
no, we're running out of choices. Running out of money.
Not
running out of
I
choices.
I don't think we can ever run out of choice. Like I said, I still
Running out of money.
want to do a Japanese tasting, and I almost did. I almost bought some of those because I've never had any of the Japanese.
No, I haven't either. But
I'm curious.
100 on up.
Exactly. Well, and that's why I never went out, because I didn't want to get one and then be like, oh, this sucks.
Yeah.
But now I've got a reason.
Well, we can be.
And now the wife
everybody's-
won't get mad at me, when I buy a $100 bottle. Oh, it's for the show.
Right, we can be everyone's guinea pig. So cool, yeah. So please, our socials. If you're watching us, you can see our socials behind us. We have all the socials. We have TikTok. Obviously, you've seen some TikToks. We have Instagram, and of course, we're on YouTube at Bourbon Buzzed and Ballin. And you can email us. You can, email us. Give us some content. Updates, if you think there's something we ought to be talking about. If you
Feedback. I would love to hear some feedback on tonight's show with,
give us some of your list on who shouldn't still have a job. But you can do that at Bourbon Buzzed and Ballin PR@gmail.com.
That's right. Spotify and Apple.
Spotify and Apple.
Every Wednesday, 7 p.m.
Hit that like button, subscribe. All that helps.
Share us with your friends.
Yeah, exactly. So we'll see you next Wednesday.
That's right. We'll see y'all next week. Cheers.
Cheers.